Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this today because, well, we're about to embark on an incredible journey right inside our own biology. We're going to look at one of the most elegant, microscopic systems keeping you alive right this very second. We are talking about your body's ultimate quality control mechanism. So think about it for just a second. Every single day, your cells are working overtime. They're manufacturing proteins, they're generating energy, they're fighting off invaders. But just like any bustling city or busy factory, all that productivity creates a massive amount of waste. So, what actually happens to the trash inside our body's cells? When proteins misfold, when energy-producing mitochondria wear out, or when a virus invades, where does all that microscopic garbage go? I mean, if it just piled up, our cells would become highly toxic very, very quickly.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the cellular recycling center. Second, inside the autophagy process. Third, the managers, mTOR and AMPK. Fourth, health, disease, and aging. Fifth, autophagy versus cell death. And finally, we'll wrap up with the future of medicine.
Let's start with Section 1, the Cellular Recycling Center, the ultimate waste management system. This brings us to a really fascinating biological term, autophagy. Now, if we break down the Greek roots of this word, auto means self, and phagy means eating. Literal self-eating. Sounds kind of like a horror movie, right? But don't worry, this isn't some destructive self-cannibalism, it's a completely vital lysosome-mediated process. Basically, autophagy degrades and recycles damaged or unnecessary cellular components so the cell can actually survive under stress. It is literally your cell's premier quality control and survival mechanism. And the sheer versatility of this process? It's mind-blowing. So why does autophagy matter so much? Well, for starters, it's the ultimate cellular housekeeper. It sweeps up damaged proteins and defective organelles, like those worn-out mitochondria we mentioned earlier. But it also doubles as a pure survival mechanism. When you're nutrient-deprived, maybe you're fasting, it steps into high gear, converting broken parts into usable energy and basic building blocks just to keep you going. It even acts as a security guard for our immune defense, actively sweeping up invading bacteria and viruses. And by preventing the dangerous accumulation of toxic protein aggregates, this whole remarkable process directly supports normal human development and healthier aging.
Moving on to Section 2, inside the autophagy process, the factory floor.
So the autophagy pathway is really like a beautifully coordinated dance, and it consists of 6 crucial phases. The whole thing kicks off when the cell detects stress or damaged components. Basically, an alarm goes off. Instantly, an isolation membrane, which is called a phagophore, begins to form and expand. As it grows, it entirely encloses the target material, creating the sealed double membrane vault called an autophagosome. Next, this vault actually fuses with a lysosome, and that leads to the complete degradation of the materials by some incredibly powerful enzymes. And finally, we get this glorious rebirth. Basic nutrients like amino acids and fatty acids are recycled for the cell to reuse all over again. Let's look a little closer at these key structures. Now, the phagophore is amazing because it acts exactly like a cellular garbage bag. It physically begins to surround the damaged waste, the misfolded proteins or the toxic debris that desperately needs to be cleared out of the working environment. It's the first step in bagging up the trash. Then, once that garbage bag is completely full and sealed off, it becomes the autophagosome. This is a double membrane vesicle that fully encloses those targeted components. So if the phagophore was the garbage bag, think of the autophagosome as the securely sealed garbage truck. It safely sequesters and transports the toxic or broken material right across the busy factory floor so it absolutely doesn't contaminate the rest of the healthy cell. And then comes the dramatic finale of this cleanup process, the lysosome. The lysosome is a membrane-bound organelle that's just packed with powerful digestive enzymes. When the autophagosome garbage truck arrives, it fuses with the lysosome, creating a hybrid structure called an autolysosome. This functions as the ultimate incinerator and recycling plant, all rolled into one. Those digestive enzymes break down the complex proteins into simple amino acids and complex lipids into basic fatty acids, releasing them right back into the cell for immediate reuse. Nothing is wasted. The ultimate green energy. But this isn't just random destruction. It is highly, highly targeted. Cells can actually send specific hitmen after particular types of waste. We call this selective autophagy. For instance, mitophagy specifically targets damaged mitochondria, which are the cell's worn-out energy plants. Lipophagy breaks down excess lipid droplets. Xenophagy is incredible. It specifically targets invading intracellular bacteria and viruses that have somehow breached the cell's defenses. And agrephagy hunts down dangerous protein aggregates before they can cause permanent structural harm to the cell.
All right, Section 3, the managers, MTR and AMPK, regulating the machinery.
So if we have this massive recycling operation going on, something has to act as the boss, right? Telling the machinery exactly when to turn on and off. The crucial point here is understanding this molecular toggle switch between mTOR and AMPK. Think of mTOR as the content, comfortable manager during times of plenty. As long as you've just eaten and conditions are nutrient-rich, mTOR is heavy on the seesaw, suppressing autophagy. It's basically saying, hey, there's no need to recycle when fresh supplies are arriving. But AMPK? AMPK is the frugal survivor. It acts as the cellular panic alarm. When it senses low cellular energy, when your ATP levels drop, AMPK springs into action and tips the balance. It actively inhibits the lazy mTOR and aggressively fires up the autophagy recycling plant to restore energy balance and make sure the cell survives the shortage.
Which takes us to Section 4, health, disease, and aging, when the factory malfunctions.
Because what happens when this elegant, highly regulated system actually breaks down? Well, the stakes are incredibly high. Dysregulation of autophagy is a major contributor to some of our most feared diseases. Take cancer, for example. Autophagy actually has a fascinating, yet kind of terrifying, dual role here. Early on, it can genuinely suppress tumor formation by removing damaged organelles and limiting DNA mutations. But unfortunately, once a cancer is fully established, the tumor can hijack the autophagy process to survive nutrient deprivation and even resist therapies. And what about the brain? In neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and Huntington's, reduced autophagy allows toxic proteins to literally pile up in the brain. Without those cellular garbage trucks to haul them away, these plaques just destroy neural networks. The metabolic system isn't spared either. Defective autophagy is deeply linked to type 2 diabetes, obesity, and fatty liver disease. It even impacts cardiovascular diseases, where failing to remove damaged mitochondria gradually weakens the heart muscle cells until they eventually fail. Next up, Section 5, autophagy versus cell death, survival versus demolition. Here we witness a really fascinating showdown between the cell's deep desire to fix itself versus its protocol to just pull the plug entirely. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between survival and demolition. You see, autophagy is fundamentally an act of desperate survival. Triggered by nutrient stress or damaged organelles, it uses the lysosome to recycle components and keep the cell alive without causing widespread inflammation. Apoptosis, on the exact other hand, is controlled cellular suicide. When the damage, like severe DNA damage or catastrophic stress, is just way too great to fix, the cell eliminates itself entirely using the caspase system and mitochondria. So, to put it simply, autophagy wants to save the factory. Apoptosis wants to demolish it for the greater good of the entire organism.
Finally, Section 6, the future of medicine, hacking the cellular recycling plant.
Because scientists now really understand this system, modern molecular biology is intensely focused on leveraging it. Let's look at how this is translating into real-world cutting-edge therapies. In drug development, researchers are actually using AI to discover drugs that can manually activate autophagy. The goal? Clear out those toxic proteins in neurodegenerative diseases. Or conversely, they want to actively inhibit it to starve out established cancers that have hijacked the system. In regenerative medicine, safely modulating this process could massively improve stem cell survival and tissue repair after an injury. We're even looking at gene therapy to go in and explicitly correct inherited defects in autophagy-related genes. And of course, in anti-aging research, maintaining an efficient autophagy process as we get older is strongly associated with prolonged, healthier cellular function. Simply put, keeping the factory clean means the factory runs longer. Which leaves us with this final, really profound question. Is hacking our cell's recycling center the ultimate key to human longevity? By learning how to master the microscopic garbage bags, the trucks, and the incinerators inside of us, we might just unlock the secret to dramatically healthier aging and disease prevention. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible look at autophagy. I really hope you walk away today with a totally newfound appreciation for the miraculous recycling factory keeping you alive every single day. Catch you next time.